All right, now we're going to go ahead and convert decimals to percent. So we're going to use what we already know about the relationship between decimals and fractions to help us come to a conclusion about how we can go directly from decimals to percent. Because remember, all three of these, decimals, fractions, and percentages, they all represent part of a whole thing. So let's go ahead and use our knowledge of decimals. If we say our decimal out loud, this is 37 hundredths, because the 7 is sitting in the hundredths place value. So if I write that as a fraction, that's 37 hundredths. Remember, percents are out of 100. So the meaning of 37 hundredths means you have 37 parts out of 100 parts. So that's your percentage right there. 37%. 2 tenths, because the 2 is sitting in the tenths place value. Now, 2 tenths, we can simplify it to 1/5. However, I'm keeping in mind that I want to turn this into a percent. So eventually I want to have a denominator of 100. And thankfully I can turn tenths into hundredths by using my equivalent fraction skills. Multiplying the top and bottom by 10 gives me 20 hundredths, and that's equivalent to 20%. Now notice you could have also tacked on a 0 behind your 2 tenths and made it 20 hundredths, and that would have gotten you straight to this step had you have done that 20%. 25 hundredths, again, I'm saying those fractions as I'm saying those decimals. 25 hundredths is 25%. 2 hundredths, I can simplify. I'm going to leave it alone, however, because that gives me my percentage right off the bat. So hopefully you're noticing a relationship between our decimal numbers and our percentages. They are looking mighty similar, and that's not just a coincidence. So if we analyze where our decimal started in our decimal number versus where it ends up in our percentage, so technically your decimal would be at the end of all of these, well, let's see what happens to that decimal. It's shifting backwards twice. So what do you notice about the decimal point as you convert a decimal directly into a percent? We're shifting the decimal, whoops, 2 places to the right. So let's do a few more examples together. So we're going to go ahead and convert the following into percent. Again, you can absolutely use your fraction knowledge to help you out, but I think we can cut out the middleman at this point, and we can just go ahead and shift that decimal twice. That's 89%, 75%, 93%, 35%. Now it gets a little trickier if you have more than 2 digits behind your decimal point. Your process does not does not change. It stays the same. So that's 99 and 25 hundredths of a percent. 9%. 39%. And if I shift that twice, that is 1/10 of a percent, which is something really, really, really tiny.